One fact that annoys me as a designer is that there are so many ways of designing one thing, which creates uncertainty and sometimes insecureness as a designer. And to be honest, I don't think there is a bad or good way as long as the end product serves its purpose well. Hi, my name is Adrian, and in this video I will show you how I design a simple dashboard screen using the MUI for Figma design library. In case you don't know, MUI for Figma is a design library based on the MUI Material React framework, which includes over 1000 components with the purpose of prototyping and launching faster and better products. So now that we are in Figma, the first thing I want to make sure is that I have obviously the library added, which is a slightly modified MUI for Figma material theme, and the purpose of modifying is to point out the fact that branding the theme can be applied quite easily. In fact, if you're interested in knowing more about how to customize it yourself, I have made a separate video on this very topic. Now the designing part. I'm always starting with the components that defines the layout: sidebar, top bar, and lastly the main content. To make things faster, I drag from the assets panel a large predefined layout component, which comes with a width and a grid model which serves as an example. I'm detaching the component so I can use it as an artboard for my starting point. Continuing with the sidebar, I decide to create the links from a list item component with icon, which comes with the option of enabling a write action, which will expand and collapse a group of children items. I then realized that I want this component to be interactive to help developers figure out faster how it should work. So what I do is wrap the component inside another component which has two states: expanded, enabled, and disabled. An addition to my group items is a subheader text which describes the category of a group. Now that I'm happy with how the group items work, let's add a placeholder logo which I'm copying from a website called logoipson.com, which serves as an example. I'm wrapping the logo inside a container with auto layout so I can add a 16 pixels padding all around. I'm also making sure the container has a fixed height of 16.4 pixels, and that's because I want to match the height of the top bar. Continuing with the search input, I'm dragging from the assets panel the outlined text field, which I'm wrapping inside a custom component frame, and that's because I will be slightly modifying the style of the input, just because I feel like I need something simpler than what we get out of the box from a text field material. As I did for the logo, I'm wrapping the input inside a container frame and adding 16 pixels paddings. The sidebar is almost done, but I feel like it looks a bit weird, and that's because of the repetitive icons. So let's change that. Perfect. Now all is left to do is to define it as a component and just place it in my artboard. To create a nice separation between the sidebar and content, I'm changing the background color to background.default token, and also I'm adding a 1 pixel inner shadow to the sidebar for a nicer transition. For the top bar, I will drag a component called app bar that comes in the kit and just change the background color so it would blend in nicely into the main content. Let's change the button to an icon button, which would supposedly open a user settings menu. Now let's add the main content, and I'm starting off with the page header, which will include only a text and some write actions. Before I finish the page header, I'm creating a container frame that will wrap everything for the main content. Continuing with the stats cards, let's grab a blank card component from the assets panel and wrap it inside a row frame with auto layout enabled, in which we add a 24 pixel spacing between elements. Let's enable the title from the card component and adjust some sizes. Now to modify the card contents, we have two options which I will demonstrate both. Since we cannot iterate the contents of a component in Figma, the go-to option is to detach all instances of the card until you reach the card content and add your elements. The second option is something that we came up with ourselves. We do not know if this is the best practice, but it allows you to keep the component undetached, which comes with a lot of management advantages. So what we do is create a separate component with all your elements that you want inside the card content and basically replace it with the current component from the card content. Let's add another element to our main content, and this is supposed to be like a table with the latest blog posts on a website. For this, I will apply the same technique of creating the content separately. Let's grab a table component from the library and place it in our card component. For the table cell contents, we are doing the same, creating a component with all variants that can go inside the cells. Everything from now is pretty straightforward, so I will just keep silent for the rest of the video. Okay, thank you for reaching out to this point. I hope this video was helpful. My name is Adrian and I'll see you in the next video.